Hello once again, everyone. So I've got a bit of a different one for you because I had all my weapons out. I'm going to talk about salutes. So one of the things that you'll learn very, very quickly when you first join in is you salute before and after you finish a fencing match. But one of the things that doesn't necessarily get talked about a whole lot is little ways to either embellish or add to your salute. Now, it should be noted, it is generally good decorum to not make your salute too flashy. There are, of course, some historical exceptions to that, but those are ones where you're following, what the book says. In general, you want it to be crisp, to the point, and to show that you're ready to fight. These ones that I'm about to go over are some little suggestions that I have that don't necessarily break that rule, but also these are some that I encourage in my students, so if you're one of my people watching this, then you can have some more ideas. So I'm going to go through kind of each of the traditions. So, firstly, start off with longsword, the thing pretty much everyone does at one point or another. For the most part, it's as simple as, and I like to start off right foot forward. Bring your feet up together so you're forming a nice right angle with your feet. Up to the face, extended, and then go ahead and just drop your right foot back, and now you're in guard, if you are right-handed. If you're left-handed, you do the other way. So, nice and straightforward. I'll show it from the side. It's the idea of up, out, ready to go. Another example, however, if you want to add a little bit more flair, is you can instead go ahead and add a slight swoosh to it. This is something I used to do a little bit more, wherein I would do with one hand, it'd be up, down, ready to go. Just a little bit of fun. It's actually inspired by Count Dooku from episode 2 Attack of the Clones, because I'm a nerd. But here's that again. Up, down, ready to go. Yet another thing you can do, and I usually do this if I'm done fighting for the day, or things along those lines, is when I personally am done, I tend to salute with my blade down. Just a thing I do, I don't know why, but it is another option if you want to. You can show that you're fully done fighting. Again, you can put it into your offhand or things along those lines, and just generally stuff like that. You will also sometimes see, and I'm going to include this in the salutes because it's something you'll definitely encounter if you're doing HEMA. I don't necessarily encourage it, but you will see people who, rather than salute distance, they prefer to walk into the ring and extend the sword with their offhand forward so you touch blades and then they'll go. This is just another form of salute, and certainly if you're playing in an environment where you're all being friendly and someone extends that to you, you can go for it. I don't like it because I think you're supposed to do all of your formal stuff at distance, where no one can misconstrue what's about to happen and attack you during that. But either way, those are just some longsword ones. Moving forward, pretty much they're all the same with most of the single swords you'll have. So in this case, I've got a rapier. It's just the same sort of idea of up, extend, down. You will also, however, start to see some other kinds of salutes added, particularly if you're doing rapier in a pedagogy-style school. You may see the 8-count salute, in which case it is out, in, out, to your left, to your right, back to guard, and that's your make ready. You then put your mask on, and you would take guard and go. So that's another option that you'll see, and I'll show that again with the saber. You can again add some slight wishness to it, get that swoosh going because these swoosh quite well. Another thing you'll see is as you add things like daggers in particular, you'll see a tutu caperta done with the salute. So again, I'm standing right foot forward, nice right angle. We'll bring it up, out, then you'll take guard. Sometimes you'll even hear an extension or things along those lines to just get a little bit of intimidation going. That's a quite fun one to do. I personally am a big fan of together, out, and that's what puts me into my guard as I push it out into space. Now, same idea, offhand weapons. You will also hear more percussive things. So with the sword and buckler, if you're doing something of an Italian tradition, you'll sometimes see the salute is a bigger thing, wherein they will first, bring it together, and then there will be strikes upon the buckler as they do a flourish. That's totally a thing. Just make sure it doesn't take too long if we're, trying to get a fight going on. What I personally like to do as a kind of homage to this, without having to get too complicated, is the same idea. Right foot is forward, up, nice pommel bop onto the buckler, makes that nice crisp noise, and pretty much all of my sword and buckler students have picked that up at one point or another. So again, it's just up to your face, and you're good. Makes a great noise. Now, final complicated ones I have for it. Depending upon what tradition you do of saber or broadsword or anything along those lines, you may again do the 8-count. The 8-count was quite common, and I believe still does get used today in a lot of sport fencing schools. But another one you might see is a different kind of flourish. So for this, what you do is you stand, again at that right angle, sword is out, and it's going to be up from your right, up from your left, up from your right, out. Now this is an homage to the flourish that you'll see mentioned in some broadsword manuals, in which case it's usually a quick series of cuts to the face, sometimes 4, sometimes 2. I like to keep it simple of just up, to face, out, then take guard. Another thing you may also see, this is more of a historical thing, but I'll do it since I've got this. In some choreography, when they show fencing schools, and we're talking like the 40s to about the 70s, you may also see foot stamps or positions such as this. Those are all holdovers from old fencing schools, which are pretty cool to look into. And a good example of that would be if you look at the Errol Flynn version of Don Juan. For a while he is teaching a fencing school, and his students do many performances like that, which are, again, embellishments you could add to it. Something just nice and simple, like a heel click, essentially. Little things that just give a bit of flair. But either way, like I said, keep your salutes simple, but by all means, customize a little bit. Have a little bit of fun. If you've got any particular little things you do maybe in your group or yourself, I'd love to hear them. It's always interesting to see. But remember, the whole point of it is, we're starting the fight, show a little bit of bravado, on guard, let's go, and then conversely, the fight is done, good respect, that's it. So otherwise, thank you very, very much for watching. We'll go over some other techniques another time.